USC's MO has been to shut down the run first and then kind of pressure the quarterback, but they did lose two of their best linebackers against Colorado. They have two guys who haven't really played that position now filling in. What kind of offensive balance do you think that you guys can strike with your running backs playing so well right now?
Well, we'll certainly find out. Yeah, I mean it was really unfortunate, especially seeing how Lamar Dawson. I mean that's one of those things that just stinks about this game. And those guys are both phenomenal players. Played extremely well for them. Unfortunately, they have really talented guys behind them. As far from our standpoint, unfortunately, that have played a ton. Whether it's a combination of linebackers or Sewell Cravens has gone in there and played some inside linebacker. They're so deep and talented that they're not going to make some drastic change. And they've had enough personnel movement, whether it's nickel group, a dime group, all the things that they normally do. They're gonna do their deal. And so again, that's where we kind of need to do our deal, and we obviously want to try to run the football and play action pass and all the things that we've done. And see if we can get something going.
Mark, we were talking to Vernon just a bit ago, and he was talking about practice today and how he was emphasizing and getting the guys motivated. Can you maybe maturation isn't the word, can maybe talk about his impetus of really taking charge of this offense and pushing the guys, and not just in practice but also in the games?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's getting more confidence in what he's doing, which is then filters down to everybody else. And then I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about from today exactly, but yeah, I thought we had particularly offensively, I thought we had good energy and for this type of game plan, pretty good execution for a Tuesday. But yeah, I think the more hopefully the more you do something, the better you do it, the more confident you are, and that kind of snowballs.
That's what he said, that there was more energy. He got the guys going. He was up and getting the guys pushing harder.
Good. Yeah. No, I mean that's we always kind of our little phrase is there's no off position on the quarterback switch. You have to be on every single day for your team to go. If you throw it in the perfect spot and the receiver's 6 inches off, everybody knows that the receiver was wrong, type deal. And so that's something that it just makes everything better when you can. That guy's a rock, and he's working toward that status.
Andrew?
Any discernible difference on the tape between what a Clay Helton-led Trojans team likes to do versus a Sarkisian team in terms of the way they attack teams offensively or defensively? Well, I mean, I don't think there's any discernible strategic difference. I think they want to, very similar to us offensively in terms of wanting to run the ball and launch. And they've got, weapon after weapon after weapon that they can unleash, whether it's the, quick game, screen game off of, bubble screens or run game, screen game, being able to pound it with multiple running backs. Kessler, highly efficient, accurate guy, and then again, pick your poison on the weapons. And so, I don't think there's, get the ball to your weapons, attack the run, and get the ball to a Dory Jackson somehow. Whether it's return game, offensively, defensively, they've got a ton of talent.
Coach Lubick was saying one of the reasons why Darren is having so much success kind of coming out of missing so much time is just the conditioning he kept himself in. He said he's one of the better conditioned receivers he may have ever had. Just what was that process like when he had to miss those games, just to kind of keep him, was he pretty self-motivated and keeping himself in shape?
He was just integrated, and I think that was something that was big. Sometimes guys, when whatever it is, an injury or they're not exactly where they want to be on the depth chart, some of those guys, for lack of a better word, tank it. Not completely, but to some degree. And he did a really good job of staying in it with the kind of the travel guys, the travel, the ones and twos. But then he also went to scout team for a ton of team periods, and so gave them a great look for the opponent, and also stayed in shape.
USC had a couple of years where they could only sign, I think, 27 guys over 2 years, 2012, 2013. Can you tell at all if that's impacted their depth? And then also, can you imagine how difficult it would be if you had to go through that situation where you can only sign that many guys over 2 years, and how that would impact your squad?
Well, it's certainly an impact in some way, and for us it would be different than for them. But yeah, they're extremely talented. I mean, the like I said yesterday or whenever, I don't even know what date it is at this point, but you flip on the tape and it's really fast, and they're big dudes doing it. Highly athletic, well coached guys, and their threes are all 5-star All-American type guys, and they're all at SC for a reason, and again, highly talented, highly skilled guys. So no sympathy. No sympathy. No.
Oftentimes after a big win, a team can maybe come back the next week and not play as well. Do you believe in a hangover effect? Like, is that real? And how do you guard against that going into the USC game?
Aaron, on a Saturday night, there's a hangover effect some way. Different Aaron. Thinking of a different Aaron. Sure, that can happen. Again, you have to. It could be a win, could be a loss, something highly emotional one way or the other. You see some teams around the country that lose 2 in a row, or a huge win and then come back the next week. But yeah, absolutely, you talk about those things, and again, focus on what's next, not what's lost or what you think you may have accomplished. What's next, and I think again our coaches have done a good job of that. Our players have done a good job of that thus far. Have to put together a complete week and a complete game to get this done, but I haven't seen anybody walk around patting anybody on the back, and we can put it in chill mode.
On Sunday, you said you have a lot of familiarity with USC, even though you haven't played them in 3 years because of recruiting in part. How often do you guys overlap on the recruiting trail with the USC staff? And when was there a last time you recall that happening or bumped into each other?
Not really, not that much from a staff perspective. We were at a camp. I can't remember exactly how many of their guys and how many of our guys, 3 or 4 guys at the Hawaii camp this summer. So a bunch of interaction that way, I guess. But then more so just of the players, and then schematically, I think we're similar on both sides of the ball. And so there's just familiarity that way, and knowing some of their coaches for a while, all those things.
Thank you, Kristen.
On Sunday, you kind of referred to Adoree Jackson as being kind of the Charles Nelson of USC because he plays so many ways. How do you think him offensively? How do you see him, guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, even though he is kind of banged up, matching up with your secondary?
It's a huge challenge, that's where you just have to pick your spots because you have to stop the run first of all, just how, and again, they can kind of, there's Davis, there's Arnold Johnson, there's Madden, there's again, it's pick your poison there, but you got to stop that first. But then when you stop that, now you've got one-on-one somewhere, and that's what they do a great job of play action, and then a one-on-one matchup, and they create some very difficult X versus O type of scenarios for a lot of people. And our guys are improving, getting better, and we'll be excited for that challenge.
Matt Preem?
You kind of talked about it with overlapping, recruiting the same guys with USC. What's been, I guess, your biggest hurdle from convincing those guys to come here instead of staying there?
There's the tradition of SC, and that's understandable and fine, but we certainly like the guys that we've ended up with. We never want to get kind of in the convincing game. We want to get in the want to be here match game. That's worked out okay. That's kind of that weird line that you get on.
Joey?
You talked on Sunday about the importance of the scout team. What makes a good scout team player?
Be great at your job. Just like being it's like being the tailback or being the wideout or the linebacker, of being resilient. Those guys, last week especially, the offensive line took every single rep of team periods where, sometimes you'll get, if a receiver, you'll get a little bit of blow or whatever, but to block DeForest Buckner for, an hour and a half, it's not a lot of fun. By the same token, to be a defensive lineman and do the same against, whoever, that's not a lot of fun, but to just, and then do your job that's different every week. Your technique is slightly different, and to do the nuances of, for instance, this week, USC's whatever line games, their twist games versus how Stanford did it, to just those little nuances of that are technically different is huge. How the safeties align, that's, might be slightly different than how we do it, or how team A, B, or C does it each week. And just, again, committing to that role and being great at it is huge. So whoever that describes.
Tyson?
I know you're always very braggadocious about your playing career and talk about it all the time, but did you ever have a receiver that you had better chemistry with than others? I mean, how did you when you were in that position, how did that kind of develop?
As you well know, my only chemistry was with the DBs. I had great chemistry with the opposing DBs. Yeah, there's always those guys that you have, that little feel of just eye contact of where they're going to go and what they're going to do, and you have that little feel for it. It's kind of like playing basketball, and when somebody's going to make a backdoor cut versus sliding out to the 3-point line. McNamara, he'll be out at 3-point line. Mosley will be in the block. He'll be doing the dirty work. No.
Anything else for that night? Just one. Warren?
The man's a follow-up.
Yeah.
How good is Mosley in the block?
Please, don't be honest.
Yesterday, Coach Frost talked about the tempo of the game against Stanford. It really looked like that was the Oregon of old, how it always has been a weapon. Is the tempo now where you would like to see it? I mean, you always say you want to get better, but are you close?
No. No. And part of that is our fault in quotes of how we're game planning stuff of a little bit more motion, a little bit more nuanced stuff. You can't go as fast. But then that also helps, to some end. But at times it was okay. But not where we need to be. And that may or may not be something that we employ this week. Just depends. Can't share that.
Coach, you guys have played mostly late afternoon or night games this year. Next two are going to be 12 or 12:30. Do you like a midday game like that better? The players, is there any different than playing late?
Tell us when to play. We'll be excited to be there. And I know that some fans are vocal about the afternoon games, but obviously there's needs to do that, or the night games, and we'll be excited to play if it's 6 a.m. or 11 p.m. or whatever. We'll be ready to go.
Anything else? Okay, thank
Thanks.
you.